1000. But the other big story we're talking about this morning is, of course, the shift to the right, the surge to the right, some are calling it, in the European Union elections last night. Roger Gewolb is with us, geopolitics and money expert. Roger, very good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mike.
So, I mean, I don't want to say people didn't see this coming, because some people did, and they predicted that, you know, people have had enough of mass immigration in Europe, people have had enough of the net zero craziness, and so Spain, Germany, France, Austria, the Netherlands, Belgium, I mean, a snap election from Emmanuel Macron. It was quite a night.
Italy, big Italy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think there's not so queer as folk, is there? I mean, it's just incredible. We Brexited to get away from the lefty, woke, oppressive, controlling, globalist, federalist, multiculturalist nonsense of the EU. And it never happened because this government actually didn't want and sabotaged our effecting Brexit properly, because they didn't like it despite the will of the people.
Yeah.
And here we are 4 years later, Europe, the EU, are all Brexiteers now. 400 million people, you know, voted a majority, overwhelming, drove Macron and the Belgian prime minister out of office. And here we are going back, most assuredly, to what we were trying like hell to get away from.
Isn't it interesting, though, but because, you know, there are different views as to whether some of these right-wing organisations want to leave the European Union. I know that Frexit was quite a big movement for a while in France, but it wasn't big enough to but what it might be big enough to do is to force the EU to change its policy on all sorts of things, including immigration and including climate change.
Absolutely. I was approached by 3 EU national television networks shortly after Brexit to talk to them and run a whole series for each of them on their exits, such as Pole exit. Poland wanted to do it. None of it happened. So I don't know. I think you're right. I don't know if it actually will, but there will certainly be some policy changes. I mean, France and Italy and Spain will certainly lead the way on net zero, and a lot of other things that really are going to dig into the pocket of Europeans that they just won't stand for.
No, exactly right. And as far as Ursula von der Leyen, we're just seeing her there. She made a speech last night that made it sound like she won everything. I wasn't quite sure whether we were on the same page on that one, but you know, she may be vulnerable in her position, right? Because she may now not get the support she thought she would have.
It's extremely dangerous and desperate for some of these folks. I mean, Emmanuel Macron took a giant risk, a huge career risk, but I mean, he's young enough, he can do whatever. He's kind of like Sunak. He can mess up terribly and still have a great career in life afterwards. No. But I mean, he took a huge risk of dissolving their parliament and calling an election, but it was the smart thing to do. You know, either give me a vote, and if he loses, he's going to sit there a lame duck for the next 3 years while Marine Le Pen runs things. He won't be able to do a thing. But, you know, he had to take that risk. And the same thing with Ursula, because for a lot of these people, it's really dangerous waters.
Yeah, absolutely right. So what do you expect to see in the coming days? I mean, obviously they'll be making kind of, you know, moderate concessions to one another. You know, the centre left will try to hold on to what power they have, but that's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, all the liberals, lefties, Greens, Social Democrats will use weasel words as politicians do, as you know very well, Mike, to make approaches and adjustments and find compromises and concordats and all that stuff. And they'll probably be rebuffed. I mean, they'll be put back in their respective boxes. I don't think they'll get very far.
No, quite. Now let's talk about America just for a moment before we let you go, because we saw Joe Biden over in Normandy for the D-Day commemorations. It looked as though he was in worse shape than he's ever been. At one point, He looked as if he was trying to sit down to a non-existent chair. His wife Jill kind of led him away at one point, sort of as if to say, you know, you've had enough. Let's put you in the shade. There's a lot of talk, and it's been going for a while, that he might actually somehow be replaced. I'd heard stories a few months back that suggested at the National Convention in August that the Democrats have, I think in Chicago, that he would suddenly be removed and somebody would be put in his place. What are you hearing?
Well, the rumors that have been going around for several months now and are getting stronger all the time is that he will actually stand down for health reasons on the 13th of June. That's this Wednesday in
Wow.
2 days. And that he'll be replaced by the left-wing governor of California, Gavin Newsom,
Yes.
who is responsible for making California, as they say in America, the U-Haul capital of America. Now, U-Haul is a small trailer, as you will know,
Yes.
being partly American, is a small trailer that you buy to dump everything in your household and move.
Right.
And people have used U-Hauls in California to get out of there since Newsom got involved, more than any. So he's a very controversial figure. Now, all the news outlets are saying, no, it's never going to happen. But the U.S. bookies, Mike, are backing some serious odds on Newsom, Newsom says, I am not running for president in 2024, but the bloke is doing everything that presidential candidates do at this stage. He's going places, speaking, making donations. He's making all the moves. So I don't know if it'll happen in 48 hours, but it may very well happen before the convention, because if it's afterwards and Biden's nominated, then steps down, it's Kamala Harris or whoever is VP nominee at that time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's fascinating. So we'll keep an eye on it, Roger. We'll hold you to that. We'll check back in with you in a couple of days' time and see if you got that one right. Roger Gewolb there on the Biden situation. More and more rumours surfacing that he may step down before